more exactly what you're looking for. And I'll point out some of the resources that can help you. Remember that since you're doing research and assignments here in an academic setting, we want to be really particular about the sources that we use. We want sources that are academic, and that means funded by or honed at a university setting involving professors and professionals with expertise in their field, and they follow academic protocols in their research, and it's been reviewed by other peers in the field who have okayed it. So when we're doing academic work, we don't just want to get whatever we can find on Google. We want to be really careful to find reliable academic sources that are based on research and facts that can be supported by evidence. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to go to the websites, and I'm going to...
So you have to go back to the classroom page.
Okay, that's in Chrome.
Yeah. Click on that
yes,
white.
Okay, and so...
Click on the white dot in the top right-hand corner there.
Here we go. Sorry about this. And I'm going to share a different screen.
That's it, yeah.
Okay, we're going to share this screen, which should hopefully show you the library webpage. Do you see that? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, so do you all know how to get to this webpage? You can get to it through the portal, or you can just simply type enmu.edu/library, and this will bring you right here. And this little screen here on the right will pop out in case you have questions. To get it out of the way, just click on the tab and it will move out of the way. And now I'm going to enlarge the screen just a little bit because we want to be able to read some of the items there. Okay. So there's a lot of different ways that you can find resources through our ENMU webpage. And so the first one is pretty basic. Right in the center of the page we have one search in a box. And this is a search feature that searches everything that you have access to, all of our databases at once, our online catalog, which can point you to both ebooks and the print books we have in the library. And so this is a useful place to start research, especially if you're not exactly sure what direction you want to take. Maybe you have a general topic in mind. So maybe a good general topic would be just cardiac exercise. And so I'm going to go ahead and just search. Notice I'm just using the Everything tab and I'm leaving it with the keyword. And when I click search, can you see this result page? Yes, great. Okay, so notice here at the top, I've got more than 80,000 hits. And if you scroll down, you see there's different things. Most of these top ones are academic journal articles, which is what we want. But sometimes you would find, say, here's an ebook, and here's another ebook. So doing a search on the main search field on our main library page will bring you a lot of results. And sometimes that's a little bit, well, too much to start with. So if you come here to the left of the screen, you will see the filters or the limiters that you can employ to reduce the results that you have to look at. So here on the left, and I am enlarging the screen as well, just for clarity. I'm going to select full text. I just want things that I can read directly on my own device. And so that eliminates things that I would have to go to the library and check out at the circulation desk. For this particular project, I do just want journal articles. So we'll let that update. And look, it's almost half of what I had done before in terms of the results that we have. And so these limiters are pretty powerful. Now, typically we will want to set a time frame on the results. So I want results really from the last 10 years. So I'm going to slide this timeline bar. I'm going to go to 2010. And so I don't want to see things that were published before 2010. And so the search feature will now just look for things since 2010. And now I'm down to just under 33,000. And so scrolling further, continue to look at the left, I can select by source type. If I click show more, it brings up a window with all of the different source types I can select. And so right now, we have most things from academic journals. I'm going to add magazines because that extends to like trade magazines and a slightly larger field, just so we can maybe see how some of these ideas are being shared with the unexpert population. So I'm going to click the yellow update button. And so we're still right around the same amount that we had before I clicked that, but that's okay. I'm still making choices, and that's good. The final one you can notice as you scroll down and look on the left side of the screen, there are a lot of other ways you can filter. You could just say, I want things from this specific database or from this specific publisher. I'm not going to select either of those, but subject is a really important one. Subject refers to the tags that we use as professionals to organize information resources. And so these are professional terms that articles and books and reports get filed under. And so these are really useful terms for searching with. And maybe as you are in the process of doing research, as you look at the subject list, it might give you new terms that you can use in your next search. Because of course, it's going to take more than one or even two searches. You're going to want to plan to do several searches with different but similar terms and see what the kind of results you get. So I'm going to select exercise. I'm going to select cardiac rehabilitation and blood pressure and coronary disease. And that seems pretty good for right now. Maybe in my next search I'll want to look more closely at exercise intensity, but for right now I'll just limit myself to these. And again, clicking the yellow update button. Look, now we're down to just a little more than 8,000 hits. Yay for us. That's still too many to look at each one. But I hope that this shows you how just doing a simple keyword and then using the filters can help you narrow your search and focus it more specifically on the types of resources you're going to need for whatever your project is. Do you want to ask me any questions at this point? Do you want me to repeat anything that I've done up till now?
No, I'm good.
Okay, great. So then just a slight review, hopefully. When you identify an article that you want to look more closely at, go ahead and click on the title. System's a little slow today, I noticed at my desk. So here we go. When you click on the title, it brings you to the entry. And if you look on the left side of the screen, it will tell you the specific journal it's from. It will indicate other articles from the journal. And then if you look to the right, you have several tools. You have the Google Drive symbol here. You could save this PDF to a folder you have in Google Drive. You can use the print icon to send it to print. You can email it. This icon that looks like a piece of paper is the citation feature, and it shows you how to cite this particular article in your bibliography or reference list following any number of particular styles. So One of the popular styles is HPE. Is that what you use in this field?
Yes.
But the Harvard styles are here. Here's Chicago, which is also popular, as well as MLA. If you're not sure what style you should use, that's a good question to ask your professor. But you can copy and paste it in your reference list. But here's just one note. It's not always 100% correct. So you still have to proofread it and make sure it's correct. Because if you just copy and paste it, and there are problems in it because the machines aren't always really great, then you'll still be maybe held accountable for that and lose points. I know of many cases where that can happen. So these are some of the tools that the database provides for you. So I'm going to X out of that. And the nice thing is that this is provided in a PDF format. And here is another really good piece of advice. If you have the choice between an HTML format or a PDF format, choose the PDF. Because the PDF is much easier to cite from when you're doing in-text citation, simply because it has page numbers. HTML documents do not have page numbers, and they're harder to cite because depending on the citation style, you may have to count paragraphs and then give the paragraph count where that your quote comes from. Whereas if you're citing from a PDF, you can just cite from the page number. So that's good advice for any of the classes that you're working on. Okay? So I'm going back to my result list, but those are some tools that you can use as you're choosing items. Now, not in every case, but in many cases, if you click on the article title, it will give you a list of keywords or subject terms. And then very often it will give you an abstract. Now the abstract is the short summary of the main ideas that are expressed in the article. And so if you're not sure if this article will be useful or not, you don't have to read the whole article. Read the abstract, and that should help you say, yeah, I want to learn more about the actual research they did, because this looks like it will support what I'm trying to share in my assignment and what I'm trying to research. But usually if you read the abstract, you might say, well, these are good ideas, but they're not really applicable to my current project. Then you don't have to read the rest of the article, and you get to save yourself some time, okay? Now another thing about this, you notice when I clicked on the title, it brought me to this page that has some interesting information, but it doesn't give me the article. Okay, this could be for a couple of reasons. It could be because it's from a different database. It could be simply because we don't actually have access to the entire article. So the way to find out is to come here on the left where it says Full Text Finder and click that. So it will bring you to this page with a yellow bar. Now the nice thing is that it has displayed the article right here. And the article is in HTML format, and you can scroll through it and read it. If you look up above the article title here, there's an icon where you can download the PDF, which is, again, if you have the choice to do that, and then you also have the article in your device, you can put it in a folder and use it as needed. So this is what happens if the article is provided to us by the Science Direct database. So, and sometimes you'll get a page with this yellow bar with go to text finder results, and it will give you another link. Sometimes you have to be prepared to click a few links before you get to the article. And sometimes you'll click all the links and you'll hit a paywall. Okay? Don't pay for any articles. As a student, you shouldn't have to pay for any articles. If it's an article that we can't link you to through our system, then go ahead back to the main library page and go to the right side of the page where there's a box with 5 green buttons. The 4th button is interlibrary loan. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about this. We have a part of a network with libraries all over the country that we can share materials with for free. And the whole idea is so that our students don't have to pay for these. We can borrow them from another library, even if we don't have them here. And so it's a really valuable resource. I hope you take advantage of it. To do that, you'll have to set up your own ILL account. So click the blue button. All of the ILL buttons are blue. Now, to sign into your library account, you need to use your ENMU or banner number. That's the one that starts with 66 or maybe 77, those if you've been here for a while. And then you have to create your own password. So to do that, you can click Set Reset Password if that's not working for you. You can contact me and I'll send you a password link. But you'll get a password link in your email, you can create whatever password you want, and then you'll come back to this screen and sign in. Okay, so I'm signing in. Didn't like my password, let me try one more time. Never. So it'll bring you to a screen. I have an overdue book right in my office in the library. It'll bring you to a screen that tells you all the things that you have checked out from the library. Okay? We have lots of academic books, and this bottom one here is a book on CD. If you like to listen to things while you're working in the background, I highly recommend it. We have a good selection. Stop by and see what we have. But to get to interlibrary loan, next to checked out, go ahead and click on requested. And this will take you to the interlibrary loan area of your account. And ultimately, it will show you things that you have already requested once you have a history of requests. And so it will give you the title, here under submitted, when you requested it, and then under status, it will give you a link if it's a digital item, and most articles that you request will be linked here digitally. And if it's a physical item like a book, it will tell you that it's at the library. You can pick it up at the circulation desk. If you want to create a new request, you do that right here at the Create Request button at the top, and it brings you to this form for articles. There's a number of fields. The fields that are required are the ones that have a star above them. So make sure you have filled in the starred fields, and then if any extra information you can add just makes the search go quicker and easier. So you can use Google to fill in that information. Very often the page on Amazon for that item can help you fill in the information if it's not somewhere else. But again, make sure that all the starred fields are filled in, and then scroll down and click the Submit Request button. Okay? And there's a slightly different choice for books. Now, all of you can use interlibrary loan to request anything that you can't get in our library. But if you are not local here in Portales or its surrounding area and you want something from our library like a book, you can get it using interlibrary loan. You can request it and include your mailing address information on the page, and we will mail it to you. We'll check it out and mail it to you. So you can use interlibrary loan to request items that we don't have. And if you are a distance student, you can use interlibrary loan also to request items that we do have to be mailed to you. Does that make sense? Any questions for me?
Not so far.
Great. Sorry, I have a tickle. Okay, so that's basic searching on the main page and then interlibrary loan. So this is getting stuff you need, okay? Now let's go a little bit deeper into more specific searching in our field.
Do you want me to get you some water?
No, I'm okay. It's just allergies, so we're good. Okay, back here on the main library page, underneath the main search bar are 3 buttons. The second button is for library guides. A library guide is a special web page that we've created where we've brought together the best resources for doing research in your subject. So I'm going to click Library Guides, and then at the top I'm going to select All Guides. primary guide we have for this page is called HPE Research. So I'm scrolling down our alphabetical list to HPE Research, and this is the web page that was created for your class and for the work that you're doing in this class. So notice on this page, we have links to APA information so that you can do it well and you can find answers to your questions. This Purdue University OWL is an outstanding resource. It gives you the rules, it gives you examples of how the rules work, what it looks like with a real object, and it also has things like sample papers. If you're still having trouble, you can go to the APA style blog. If things are still not working out for you, contact me directly. Here's my contact information on your course page, and I will help you find the answer. I'm one of those library geeks who loves looking for and finding answers. So if anytime you ask a question, I will drop whatever I'm doing to help you find the answer, okay? So, and then on the rest of the page, we have links to the different databases in our subscriptions that are especially useful for doing research for APA. There's the business side, there's the education side, there's the health and medicine sides. So scroll through here. Science Direct is a really great resource. All of these other collections are excellent. Westlaw, again, helps with the business as well as the legal side of things. So all of these will be useful depending on the kinds of questions you're trying to answer in the research you're doing and the projects you've been assigned. So it's worthwhile getting in here and getting familiar. Now, not every database is going to look the same. If I click on the top one, it brings us to a page, a screen that looks like this. So here we have a search bar. Here it gives us a few search tools, finding things by topic, by subject, by publications. That means journal titles. So and this is pretty simplistic. If you click on advanced search, it'll bring you to a page with more fields for different search terms. And it will allow you to select a few limiters right here. And if you're looking for peer-reviewed journals, you can select it right at the beginning of your search. If you're looking for a particular thing, it gives you choices: articles, abstracts, reports. So if you have an idea of what you want, you can limit it that way. Again, your subject. Lexile measure means reading level difficulty, like for elementary or high school age or college age. So all of these things work in the Gale OneFile database family, of which business is just one part, okay? But again, not every database looks like that. I'm going to click on Education Research Complete, which comes from a different company called EBSCO, and so this is what the search page looks like. But it has the same features. You have different search fields where you can type keywords, subject terms, author or title. Check the drop-down menus for the different options that you have. And then also as you scroll down, you see there are filters. I can select full text here, I can select scholarly peer-reviewed, I can select document type, I can put some date limiters right here at the beginning of my search. But if all I want is PDFs, I can select that as well. So you can access these filters at the beginning of your search when you're searching in individual databases. So we just saw what the Gale family looks like. And they have their search fields and their drop downs and their limiters. And so we have the same things in the EBSCO family of databases. It just has a slightly different design on the screen. So it's worth it taking a minute or two to just look around the screen, get familiar with what's there, and that will just help you right at the start of your search process to feel comfortable and confident. And so the different databases can look different from each other, but they have the same features, okay? So most of the databases in our collections we access through EBSCO, so they will have this EBSCO look. And also, if you are on our homepage, and if you click on advanced search here, that will take you to this same screen. So what I'm going to show you now will work on anything that looks like this, but the same principles will transfer to any other database with search fields and filters, okay? So I'm going to do my keywords. I'm going to stay with cardiac. I'm going to say cardiac health as my first keyword. And then I'm going to put in a second keyword, which is exercise. Whoops.
It's hard with
It
the
doesn't-
light. You can't see the keyboard.
Yes, anyway. So I'm going to limit it to full text and scholarly right at the outset. And then I'm going to go ahead and click search. All right. So this gives me slightly more than 1,400 results, which isn't bad. I certainly want to narrow it down. A good rule of thumb is 50 to 200. That's what you want to get to. And, as you have experience with this, you can get it down below 50, but sometimes that's not always the best choice. So give yourself a rule of thumb of 50 to 200 results to work from. And again, remember, we're going to click on the title, and if there's an abstract, we're going to review the abstract before we commit ourselves to the whole article. And, we're going to be thoughtful deciding what sources here are going to be best for our project. Okay, so again, once you've done your search, you get your result list, which is just the same as what we looked at the beginning of my discussion. And what's nice about EBSCO is if there are graphics, if there are images like tables in the article, it will let you just click to look at those more closely. So there's some nice things there. And again, the same limiters here on the left that you can employ. So I want to show you a couple other things about searching in databases that can help you maximize the way a database works. So notice I have my two keywords in two different search fields, and in between them we have this word and. And isn't just, a connecting word here. And is serving a specific purpose. It's giving a particular instruction to the search engine. What it's telling the search engine to do is to find only those articles that include both of my keyword terms together. So with the word and here in between my keywords, I'm not going to get an article that only has cardiac health. And I'm not going to get an article that only has exercise. The search engine's only going to bring me articles that have cardiac health and exercise together. And that's what the and command is giving to the search engine. Now I can alter this. You have the option for or. And the fun thing about or is that it does the opposite of and. Once I give it a command to search for everything about cardiac health or everything about exercise, it's going to give me every article that talks about exercise. And it's also going to give me every article that talks about cardiac health, whether or not those terms are connected. Okay? So look at the number of hits I have. Before I had 1,400, and look, I have 127,000, almost 128,000. So, or expands the number of results you get. And you may want that. You may be doing some searching and only getting 1 or 2 hits, and neither of them are useful. So you may want to throw an or in there to increase your result lists, to give you some more options. But if you then want to narrow your results, it's a good idea to combine different keywords. I'm going to, and also when we talk about keywords, it's good to do a little bit of brainstorming so you have more than one term referring to an idea or concept that you want to know about. So instead of exercise, I'm just going to do workout. Notice I put it back on and interestingly, when I did cardiac health and exercise, I had 1,400 results. But when I changed one of my keywords to workout, I only have 75 results. So it's worth doing several searches with slightly varied keywords to see the kinds of results you get, and then to scan through that results list, look at the results, look at the terminology that's being used in those articles and subject terms, and then do a next search informed by the results of the previous search. And that's another way that you can narrow things down and focus on the best articles or resources that you need. So any questions about and or keyword searching here?
No?
Okay. Just note here too that there are these drop downs for each search field. You could put an author name in that search field. You could put a title, a book title, or an article title in that search field. If you're looking for something in a particular publication, then you can put the journal title in that field and choose publication name. So there's lots of different things you can search for using these search fields. Now, notice that you have a third search field here. And I could put low impact here. Notice when you add additional keywords, you reduce your results. Now, you're usually given 3 search fields with the option, usually a plus sign or add a field. You can add more, but anytime you add to the 3, you're lowering the probability of getting any results at all, or you're increasing the probability of no results. So I typically keep my own searches between 2 keyword terms or 3 keyword terms, because after that you kind of have diminishing returns. Get in there, play with it, see what it produces for you, but that's just a general rule of thumb. Okay? So that's searching in databases. I want to come back here to the library guide, subject guide for your class. So on the first page of the subject guide, you have HPE resources, you have contact information for me, and links to the most significant databases for HPE research. Now here you see some different tabs, and if you click on the second tab, HPE journals, we have here a list of really significant journals that you can use. Again, you can focus on to find articles about the topics you are researching. And so we have links to these articles. Sometimes they're external links, but there'll also be links to things within our own library collection. Okay, these so far, let's see.
There's a lot of human kinetic stuff, I think, on there.
Okay, this one is one that we have in our collection, so it takes you to the page. If you click on full text access and click on the link, it will allow you to select the particular edition so you can find the article. So a lot of work went into creating this for your convenience, so I hope that you're able to take advantage of this and you find it to be useful for you. All right. So this is library guides, and this is searching in databases. Just one final thing now. I don't know if you're familiar with Google Scholar. But this is another way to search for academic resources on your topic. And it will, I'm just going to write exercise. That doesn't have all the fancy filters that we've seen in the other databases, but this is still really powerful. Because it gives you basic information about each item, but also, if you look underneath the basic entry, you'll see cited by, and then a number. These are all the other articles that have quoted or cited this article. We call this a citation index. And if you want to see how influential the ideas from this article are, it doesn't hurt to get into Google Scholar and look at how many people have cited. And another nice feature that it offers you is this link that says related articles. So it can help connect you to other articles on the topic, so you don't have to start every search from scratch. Now notice, to the right of the screen, if it's available as a free PDF somewhere on the web, it will provide a link to that. So a good rule of thumb is if there's an article, a specific article that you want and you can't find it in our subscriptions or in our databases through our library webpage, it doesn't hurt to do a quick Google search for it, and it might show you, it might give you a PDF for that article. It doesn't always happen. It might just send you to a paywall again, so you'll have to request it through interlibrary loan. But Google Scholar can point you to other relevant resources and to actual copies of an article if you haven't been able to find it in other ways. But it will also help you to know that there are no options and you have to request it through interlibrary loan. So Google Scholar is a really useful resource. And finally, it's a good idea to think about how you're going to organize and keep a record of the different resources that you're looking at. And there are some different citation management applications that are available. One very famous, popular one is Zotero, Z-O-T-E-R-O, and you can just embed that right in your Chrome and your Google Drive, and then as you're looking at articles online, you can save those right there. And another really popular one is Mendeley, and that is when you install on your machine. It also has a web-based facet. One of the things that's fun about Mendeley is that it will read your PDF and generate a rough draft citation for a reference list. Now again, you really have to proofread that, but it's a starting point. So look up Mendeley, look up Zotero. These are software items that allow you to create folders, and that can just help you stay on top of your projects and not have to go searching for things at the last minute. When I was a graduate student, which was pre most of this stuff, I still have my banker boxes.
I was going to say, I've got Cardex.
That was sometimes a nightmare, is all I'm going to say. So these are nice, and I recommend, again, seeing which works for you. I've used both. I have friends who use both, and everyone loves both. So just find the best one for you and see how it can help you make the most of your research. So that's it for me. I'm happy to answer questions, to repeat anything, to demonstrate something again, or if there's something I didn't cover that you would like to ask about, please do that now.
So I looked away for, of course, like 3 seconds while you were doing the HPE journals. Where was
Yes.
that again?
Oh, great question. So I'm on our library guide for HPE. Do you remember how to get this to here?
Yes.
Okay, so it's the second tab at the top of that page. It says HPE journals. And
Okay,
here you
perfect.
are. Okay?
All right, awesome, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Okay, well, I'm going to X out of this, and I'm going to turn it back over to your teacher, and thanks for your attention. And please call, email, come to the library. I am happy to work with you. Any of us librarians are happy to work with you. We'll drop whatever we're doing because working with students is why we got into this. Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's a ton of information. It's going to take you some time to play, all right? So what I hope is that you get as geeky about looking for research as Karen and I are, because it can become a time suck. So I would suggest that you put on a timer on your watch or on your phone, when you start doing database searches, because before you know it, you'll look up and 3 hours will have gone by, because it's just like you find something that's exciting and it leads to something else that leads to something, and it just keeps going and it never stops, and you can sit there forever. And I really, really hope that you get there, because it's just so much fun to find what is out there. You have no idea.
It's like being a detective.
It is. It's like being a detective, and you have no idea of the wealth of information that is right at your fingertips there. I could give up work yesterday and just read for the rest of my life, because there is so much stuff to know. It's fascinating. Thank you so much, Karen. That was brilliant.
Okay.
Brilliant. It was really clear. Very, very, very good. Thank you very much. So yeah, if you've got questions about, what would be a good search term, if you're having, I'm not great at that. My sister's really good at that, but when I'm looking for things, I'm like, why can't I find it? Why can't I find it? And I ask someone, they say, oh, try using this, and bingo. So sometimes finding the right keyword can be a big breakthrough, and Karen's great at that. Okay, so do use her as a resource. Do play in the library pages. Let me know if you find another journal that is not on our HPE list that you think would be really useful for us to put a link to there. I have not had the new faculty member look at that yet, so she may change some things up. But yeah, it's a great shortcut, that HPE page, because it will really hone you into things that are geared. We've got Dr. Yun has sport management journals up there. We've got coaching journals. We've got kinesiology journals. We've got it's ages. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. So I just hope that this has been useful. I would highly recommend that maybe in a couple of weeks' time you stop and watch the recording of this again, because in a couple of weeks, you're going to have to be thinking about what's my if you haven't kind of narrowed a purpose or even a topic down yet. This is a good opportunity to play with the databases while you try to find something that you want to be reading for the rest of the semester. Okay, once you are out of 502, if you want access to this lecture again, you can email me and I can give you a link to it on YouTube, because I'm filming it for my YouTube page as well. Okay, so this information is always available to you. You don't have to remember it. All right, I guess that's what I'm trying to say in a very long-winded way. All right, you don't need to remember it. The resource is always available. All right. Any questions for me? I have started grading the paper number 1. So I'm about halfway down. I do like the top half of the template for everybody and then the bottom half of the template for everybody. So I've got through the top half of the template. I'm relatively confident. I have no meetings tomorrow, that I can get those back to you tomorrow. I am looking for a particular article for this week, so that is not up yet. I had to use Interlibrary Loan today because I thought I had access to an article that I didn't have access to. So hopefully they'll get that to me tomorrow. Would be great, but if not, I'll resort to a different article. So there'll be something up tomorrow for you to read for the next article 2. What else? Remember, so if you didn't watch it yet, go back and make sure that you watch lecture 1 and lecture 2 for how to use the template. Several of the students in class were were typing more than 2 lines into a row on the template, so make sure you follow the guidelines, please, otherwise you're going to end up being overword and getting a deduction somewhere, so just keep checking. Yeah, I think that's probably it. So, anybody got questions for me?
I have a question.
Hurrah! Go for it, Michelle.
I am struggling with the methods versus the procedures, and I have been reading and looking things up and trying to decipher this. But is there something that you can tell us?
Sure.
Just me?
Yeah, so, okay. So it's just a kind of freak in the terminology, really. So what we have is design methods and procedures, but often in a journal article, procedures is called methods. And so I think that's where the confusion comes. So for that second box, where it's saying design stroke methods, that's only 0.5 of a point. What you're looking for that box is the plan for data collection. So particularly if it was a quantitative paper, you'll be able to, with practice, right, which is why it's only 0.5 of a point, you'll be able to start identifying what the plan for the data collection was. So a very simple one in our field is often the plan is a pre-post data collection. So as you're reading the paper, you'll notice that they did a pre-test on the participants and collected some information. And then there was a form of intervention of one kind or another. And then they did a post-test, the same test they did at the beginning after the intervention, so that they can compare whether the intervention made a difference. And sometimes they'll even do a follow-up test 4 weeks, 3 months, 6 months later, right? And then when you look at the data analysis, you can look at, typically that would either be t-tests or more useful repeated measures ANOVA, so that they can compare these different time spots of the data. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah, so then we would be writing, like, what they're actually doing for the pre-process?
No. In that box, just literally write what the plan was. So if it's pre-post data design, just put pre-post data design. Because the what they did is the procedures, right?
Okay.
So the design could be something, it may not be pre-post, right? They may just do a survey. And sometimes the survey is pre-post, but often surveys are a one-off data collection. And so you would just put survey type or something like that.
So I was just overthinking it.
No, that, because the what they did to collect that data is the procedures, is the methodology.
Okay.
Does that make
Okay,
sense?
thank you. Yes, that helps immensely.
Okay. I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear before. I should have been more clear about that. What else? And here's the thing, right? Typically, so when you read the abstracts, what you're learning to do with the template is you are learning to summarize the paper and kind of produce your own version of an abstract, right? which is why I said you can't use the abstract to fill in any of the boxes, because that's sort of cheating. They already did the summary, right? What I want you to be able to do is read the full paper and pull out the key highlights in that paper, okay? Typically, when you write a summary, you would not highlight what the data design, the plan for the data collection was, right? I have that in the template at this point in the semester, just to try to help you start to identify it, right? Because the more you read, you'll get to a point where you can basically read the first few lines and go, oh, this is going to be an intervention paper. And you'll just know, right? But not yet, because you haven't read enough yet. So I'm just trying, I've just got that line in on the template at this point, just to try to make you think through, okay, what was the plan here? What were they thinking about the data collection? As I said, particularly if it's quantitative, because that is thoroughly planned out ahead of time. Right? If it's qualitative, then you may be writing things in there like observation and interview, because they change their minds as they go along and they change the way they collect the data. So qualitative research is very flexible in a way that my training struggles with. You know, even reading qualitative papers, my brain's going, ah, how could they do that? But it's just a different form of empirical data collection, which we will get to. I don't know if that's next week. I have to look at the syllabus and see if the qualitative lecture is next week or not. Yeah, so, you know, if you have any more, if you've got questions like Michelle's question just now, that was a perfect example, right? If you have a question like that, and we're not in class and I'm not in my office hours, then that's a good type of question to put into the discussion board rather than email me. Because then I can answer it and everybody can benefit from that answer. I don't think you were the only one, Michelle, who had that question, right? So this way everybody gets the benefit of the question and the answer, right? If you've got a question about, oh, I need an extension or something like that, then obviously use the email facility in Blackboard for that type of question, right? Because that's no one else's business. But if it's content related, I would recommend that you use the discussion board. Okay? Anything else I can help with? No? Okay, I'm going to stop the recording within Collaborate then. There. And let me go and turn off the camera over here. So that means that in half an hour or so,